Continuing our team coverage, 24-hour News 8's Ryan Takeo live at the Capitol, where protesters are headed home now after a big defeat today.
Brian, good evening. Inside the rotunda today, union members tried to speak up. They ended up drowned out, though, in part because of the building being locked down, but more importantly, a Republican majority that was set on making right to work a reality.
And that the legislators move promptly and efficiently in moving it through the legislature, and when it arrives on my desk, I plan on signing it.
Governor Rick Snyder asked for swift action today. But for Belding's Lynn Mason, a retired middle school teacher, the day took a lot out of her.
Today's been hard. I spent 5 hours in the Senate chamber.
While Republican leaders were working on passing the legislation, some union members jammed into the Capitol rotunda. Some were kept outside, and even some faced some opposition.
What about union conservatives that want their rights?
As the night wore on, those inside watched what was going on, huddled around TVs. And when the state Senate passed a pair of right-to-work bills, the opposition imploded.
Quite often people call it right to work, but I think it's a much better description to say this is about fairness in the workplace and equality in the workplace.
While right-to-work proponents are close to giving workers that choice of going to a union, current union members are still banding together, remaining committed, even though they're very tired.
But it still has a process, so maybe there's a little bit of hope. I try to be an optimist, but I'm worried.
Union workers try to regroup now with some small protests planned for the next couple of days, but catch your breath, because come Tuesday, that's when the State House, they can make history in the home of the unions. Live at the Capitol, Ryan Takeo, 24-hour News 8.
Thank you, Ryan. Democrats are not taking today's developments lightly, vowing to do everything in their power to stop the legislation in its tracks. Even the president is responding to today's developments. And 24-hour News 8's Leon Hendricks joins us live in studio with more on that. Leon?
Sue, good evening. This is something a lot of people were not expecting to come to the forefront. Even the governor admits that. But here it is. It looks like it will be signed into law, and no doubt that there will be a major effort to try and stop it. The White House tonight released this statement about right to work in Michigan, saying, quote, "The president believes our economy is stronger when workers get good wages and good benefits, and he opposes attempts to roll back their rights," end quote. The president's statement went on to talk about Michigan, saying that the auto industry here is, quote, "a prime example of how unions help build a strong middle class and a strong American economy." Democrats have vowed to do what they can to fight the legislation from becoming law. There's been talk of taking the issue into the courts in an attempt to challenge the legality of the bill. Primarily, though, there's been a lot of talk about starting a petition in an attempt to get the bill on the ballot for voters to decide. As the issue was coming up to a vote, many House Democrats walked out of the House, but they came back, they voted, and not surprisingly, they were not quiet about their opposition.
And I tell you this, Mr. President, we will fight you. We will not let this stand. We'll fight you from Kalamazoo to Timbuktu. We'll fight you from the streets and in the suites. We'll fight you in the pit house, and we'll fight you in the outhouse. And Mr. President, I'll tell you this right now. When it's all said and done, when it's all over, we will grab the thunderbolt of truth. We will grab the rod of revolution, and we will have our victory. And the spoils will go to the working people of Michigan.
And if that didn't tell you this, I don't know what will, that this is not over in Lansing. We expect to see more demonstrations as this controversial legislation works its way through our state government. Now, we have learned that the President of the United States, Barack Obama, will be coming to Michigan in the coming days. On Monday, he'll be in suburban Detroit speaking at an auto plant. While we don't know much yet about his visit, it would be quite the surprise if right to work wasn't on his list of things to talk about while he's here, Brian and Sue.
Okay, Leon, thank you. We will continue to cover every facet of this story to make sure that you get the most up-to-date information. Make sure and stay with 24-hour News 8 right here on Wood TV and at woodtv.com.